My Copilot agent has just predicted the opening fixture for Leeds United's Premier League weekend correctly. But can it keep doing this all season long? Well, that's exactly what I want to find out. And to do this, I've created a Copilot AI agent specifically with that task. An agent versus a traditional chatbot has the ability to look at a smaller data set to be used for a single purpose or a more defined purpose, but can also run processes and even outputs automatically. In my case, I've created an Excel workbook with some data around the Premier League fixtures, league form, positions, home and away, and a few other factors, and I've told my Copilot agent just to look at that data set to predict outcomes. Specifically, I'll be just asking for the result, win, lose or draw, but for a little bit of fun, I'll also ask it to predict a score, though I think this will be much harder as the data set's quite small. Each week, I'll ask for a prediction and record the results, and hopefully we'll see over time how accurate the agent is or isn't, and in particular, we should hopefully start to see with the more data and insight and context the agent has, the more accurate its predictions become. I'll be recording weekly updates and posting updates over on my LinkedIn channel. I'll post a link to that in the description to this video. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I created the agent, what data it looks at. So if you wanted to look at creating your own agent or for something similar, you could do so too. So whether you're into football or just curious about AI and AI agents, this should be a really fun experiment and we'll see what happens. So, how did I create this AI agent and how could you create your own agent if you wanted to? Well, first of all, you need to have Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is one of the paid versions and has the ability to have agents. But once you've got that, or if you already have that, you can jump into Copilot either in the web or in Teams or one of the other mediums, and you should have a similar looking page to this. You can see some agents that I've created in the past already, but all the way down here in the middle, there's the Create Agent button. Ultimately, this is super easy to do. You can just click Create Agent and you can walk through a guided process. So I'm not going to actually do this now because I'm going to make a full-blown video on how to create agents and how to use agents and that sort of stuff. But it's just as simple as typing in here what you want to do. It'll be a guided process and ultimately you'll end up something like I have here. So just to show you a little bit of background about how I've set this up then. So I've gone through and created an agent. In terms of my data source, I'll just quickly show you that. Ultimately, I've just created an Excel workbook that I'm housing the data in. I'm keeping it super basic. I want this to be just light and fun. And we have a Teams channel called Copilot Champions here at Everton. And that ultimately is just where we keep all of our Copilot learnings, our sharings with the team, some kind of data for demos and stuff like that. So I've just created a folder in there called Copilot Leeds United Agent Data. And I've dumped my Excel in there. I'll just jump into it so you can see it. Nothing super interesting about this. I'll just quickly run through the tables. Ultimately, each tab has data and it's in a table format. And I have also named the tables. So each table has a descriptive name, just in the interest of helping Copilot understand the data. And as you can see, I've got the teams in the Premier League. I've recorded their last season's finishing position. Just for note, the 3 promoted teams have just been added to the bottom because I didn't want to get into the hassle of putting the championship stuff up as well. And then because we're a week in now when I'm recording this, there's been a round of games already. I've recorded the current league positions as they stand. Obviously, after one game, they're not that useful, but they'll become more useful as we progress. I've then got a tab for the Leeds United fixtures. So this is where the Copilot is understanding who we're playing next, when we're playing, home or away, and we're recording results. So broken it down to match weeks with game dates, home and away. You can see the first week we had Everton. It predicted a win. It was a win, so that's been highlighted green. And I've recorded the score as well, even though it wasn't right. and I am mainly interested in win, lose or draw at the minute. I'm hoping that as the season progresses and the agent has more context and data insight, the predicted scores might get a bit closer. But as you're probably aware, there's tons and tons of stats that betting companies use and pundits use to determine these sort of things. So my kind of basic data set is never going to be as well rounded as theirs. So I've got that, and then ultimately week by week, we just have a match week tab. So that is basically all the games happening that week. Again, in a table format with a descriptive name. So you can see I've called that match week 1. And it's got the dates, home team, away team, and the score and the result, basically. The reason I've included all the teams, even the non-Leeds United fixtures, is I want this agent to ingest all the extra games and understand, for example, like Liverpool score more goals at home than maybe they do away. And I want it to be able to have those sort of insights and bring those into its predictions moving forwards. First few weeks of the season, this is going to have like a little kind of data set to go off, but obviously as we reach the end of the season, hopefully this will become more accurate and we can see it in the prediction results as well. So week by week, I've just got match week tables running. This is match week 2. No games being played yet, so it's blank. And then I've created a tab for evaluating it. Right now it's completely blank because I don't think there's anything meaningful we can pull out of this. But once we've got some meaningful data in the table, I'm going to use this for like how correct it's been, percentages, how close the scores have been, maybe that sort of stuff. So we'll kind of touch on that when we've got more meaningful data in it. So if I jump into the edit section of the agent, this is my pre-built one, the one that I'm using to predict scores. I'll just show you the kind of under the hood, as it were. See the name that I've given it, you can see the description. And again, I just set this up in the same way that I've showed you right at the start. Create agent, use natural language just to talk about what you want. You can see its instructions here. So this is what the AI is going to do. So it's focused on win, lose or draw from results of Leeds United games. It's going to predict a score for the match, albeit we're not that interested in it. And it's going to factor in right now home away advantage. And it's also going to look at the number of days between games just for a basic like rest to see if that factors in. And then it's also going to look at last season's finishing position and the current league position. So there it's kind of base parameters that it's going to use to judge. And then each week when I ask it for a result, I'm going to manually give it the last 5 games form for both Leeds United and the team we're playing, just to give it a bit more context as well. Hopefully what we'll see is those sort of things will help the agent become more accurate. We'll get some really good results moving forwards. And you can see there's a few more bits in here about responding concisely, only using English, and a random one about not giving me jokes back, which I didn't purposely set, but it's obviously gauged that from the initial kind of creation. And then the only other sort of important bit to note in here, under the knowledge section, I've literally just fed it this Excel sheet, which again is going to evolve over time. But that's its one source of truth. That's its data set. It's going to look at anything it decides, predicts, or uses needs to come from that data set. So you can see that all in there. Just to prove it works, I'm going to just ask it who the next game is. I'm not going to do the prediction just now because I'm going to do all those over on my LinkedIn. But I'll ask it, is the next game against? I can't spell, but it will correct it for me. So it's understood who the next game is. It's given me the date and it's told me it's away. And it's worked it out from, as I mentioned and as I showed you, that Excel sheet. Again, it's asked if I want a prediction, but I'm going to save those for their LinkedIn videos. Got any questions about setting up agents or wanting to do something like this? Let me know and I'll help out if I can. But yeah, have fun. I think this is going to be good and evolve over time. And let's see what happens. So that's the setup then. A live experiment showing how AI agents can be used outside of the office. Something that's hopefully a little bit of fun and resonates with all those football fans. Over the course of the season, as I mentioned over on my LinkedIn profile, I'll be sharing weekly updates about the Copilot Agent's predictions and its accuracy. And over the course of the season, I'll be sharing what works, what doesn't work, and what I've learned from running the experiment. This is more than about football scores. It's about how AI agents can understand context, can grow, and even evaluate their own performance over time. If you want to follow along, subscribe for any more YouTube videos, or head over to my LinkedIn profile to see the weekly updates. And I'd love to hear in the comments what you think. Can AI really beat the pundits, or is football just too unpredictable?